Happy Sunday. Hope y'all are in church. You can watch this later, okay? But probably not. People don't go to church as often as they should. And I'm guilty of that. So, but I like to say I worship God 7 days a week. In light of the things that's happening in our country with this administration and other in the world in general, I think it behooves us to look at the bigger picture. Now, I've had my own axes to grind with President Trump, but he's light years better than the former president. I mean, really, there is no comparison, you know. And he's got priorities. His cabinet, the DOJ, they got priorities. And I have no problem with the priority of saving the children. And it's not getting the media attention that it deserves. The rescue of thousands of children that were lost. They were lost to the world in general, but they were being trafficked and all kinds of crazy things. Everything from sexual traffic to organ donor, taking of their blood, adrenochrome, you name it. Maybe sometimes just the purely delight of the elitists. They are some sick puppies. So I have no problem with that as a priority. I have no problem with getting rid of these sleeper cells in this country. And the more that comes out, well, a lot of us, we've known for years what was going on. Example, remember the Chinese state senator from California got caught smuggling in, oh God, I want to say it was like 75,000 AK-47s. And he had been doing it for some time. So where were those AK-47s, those assault rifles going? Well, you see what happened in Utah, or actually New Mexico, where they pulled over this van with all these illegals. 80,000 rounds of AK-47 ammunition. That ammunition was going to sleeper cells, just like all those AK-47s were going to sleeper cells a long time ago. I have no problem with ridding this country of these. We literally had a foreign army right in the middle of our country. Are you kidding me? Huh? Does that not deserve a priority? Yeah, it does. Okay? I have no problem with that. I have no problem with the bombing of Iran for various reasons. One is they had the sleeper cells, a whole army of sleeper cells in the United States. So that was sending a message. You want to screw with us? Look what we can do to you. Not only that, the people in Iran are celebrating. They're getting rid of this tyrant, this Ayatollah. They're tired of Sharia law. They're tired of being abused. How could that be wrong? And everybody's, well, we attacked a sovereign nation. I don't care if it's a sovereign nation at all. Because you know what? You can't allow yourself to be outflanked by nuclear intercontinental ballistic missiles. You just can't allow that. Yeah. First World War. Don't get outflanked. And if you find out you're being outflanked, you fight tooth and nail to defend yourself and get out of that mess. I have no problem, none whatsoever, with the bombing of those nuclear sites, those centrifuges in Iran, okay? So, again, the bigger picture is you got to look at the priorities and what this administration is doing. Now, guess what? There is more and more focus on Hillary Clinton and Anthony Weiner's laptop and the stuff that she pulled. That investigation is taking on more and more momentum. And I love it. I love it. I personally like to see that woman's head on a pike. Yeah. And paraded around the country. Yeah. That's what I'd like to see. But here's a big problem. A real big problem. I was involved in the Malheur refuge occupation. And I learned a lot while I was out there. And one of the things I learned was that Uranium One, a Russian asset, was doing dealings with America, directly with Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State and Obama. And they were putting money, big money, in the Clinton Foundation, $145 million. And that was why they took over the Hammond Ranch, because and put those men in prison because of all the uranium that was out there on that ranch. Excuse me. So, when they get to investigating Hillary Clinton, they're going to find out a whole lot of things, not just her human trafficking, which is the worst, obviously, but her torture of children for the adrenochrome, and videoing it. It's on Anthony Weiner's laptop. I mean, there's a whole lot of people, police in New York City that have seen it. They know all about it. And I think Kash Patel is going to go after her big time. And I have reason to believe that when everything is revealed, that she, Obama, and that administration was directly involved in the murder of my friend. Okay? You know who my friend is. Directly involved of Lavoy, the murder of Lavoy Finicum. Okay? And I decided a long time ago I wasn't going to let it go. Because, I went out there and did my own investigation a short time afterwards. I went to the exact spot. And I saw where the FBI built the platforms up in the trees. And looking at the FBI video, those bullets coming down through the cab of that truck. One of them striking another friend of mine, Ryan Bundy. And I knew absolutely that the FBI controlled that whole scenario. They controlled the Oregon State Police. I had people arguing with me. I'm like, okay, you just don't know. You don't know, okay? It was so obvious, I couldn't believe everybody else wasn't seeing it. But I don't argue with people. I just let the truth come out eventually and let people find out. So the FBI, under the control of that administration, specifically targeted Lavoy Finicum and everybody else that was in his vehicle, okay? And they had a bunch of useful idiots, some Oregon State Police, because they all they were told to turn off their body cams. And guess what? They did. Well, we're going to do what the federal government tells us to do. We're going to do what the FBI tells us to, okay? And they tried to hide it. There's FBI agent Joseph Astorita. He was the one that was doing that shooting from the platform, okay? He got caught picking up 5 rounds that he shot, okay? I know at least one of them hit Lavoy, okay? Just from the angle of the autopsy, entering into his top of his shoulder, exiting out on his side. And then the assholes planted a gun on him. The autopsy showed that was an exit wound right there with a supposed gun that he was going to pull on him. There's no blood. And then later it was found out that had been stolen in Portland, Oregon 2 years before. So it was a drop gun. And everybody at the time, all the Oregon State Police, they were afraid to go up against the federal government. In a way, I don't blame them. The federal government had total control. We were basically under a dictator and martial law at that time. And I believe all this is getting ready to come out because of the focus. If you watch the news, okay, and I'm not talking about the fake news, but if you watch what's going on, okay, and the signals that are coming out, they're looking at Hillary Clinton, and there's an investigation that has started and has taken place, and they're going to find out every dirty, rotten thing this woman has done. And she is an evil. She is she is demonically possessed. Anybody that would do that to a young girl, what her and Abedin did, and cutting the face off that little girl, and then putting the face on themselves and running around while that little girl's screaming her head off, that woman is demon possessed. Demon possessed. That's why I like to see her head on a pike and parade it around this country. Send a signal. This is what happens. The devil will not save his children. They're all going to go down. They're all going to go down. So, in summary, we got to all look at the bigger picture and, have some patience. Have some patience because things are happening and they're happening fast. And what's amazing to me, this man and the Department of Justice, well, his whole cabinet, has been fighting many wars on many levels. And it's kind of mind-boggling, actually. I don't understand where this man gets his energy. He's like, I think he's a year older than me. I don't got that kind of energy. Hell no. Sometimes I like to wake up and go, I'm just going to stay in bed, But I have a lot of respect for the man. He's made mistakes in the past. I think he's repented of them. To me, it's obvious that he has repented of them. He had no other choice but to do what he's doing because they are out to murder him and his family and everything. It's just a matter of time. And the tyrants that were involved in this country and all these sleeper cells and on and on and on and on. I'm telling you, we were so close, so very, very close to being totally destroyed in this country. Yeah. And I believe God's hand has been over Donald Trump. Okay? He's got to rein in Netanyahu, though. All these angelic Christians, Israel. We got to give Israel priority. Like hell, because that ain't Israel. Okay, that ain't Israel at all. You're talking about a bunch of Ashkenazi Jews, all right? And they're not Semitic. This is proven 98% of them some years ago. I've read all the documentation because they did all this genetic profiling, and 98% of them aren't even Semitic. Okay, they are from the tribe of Japheth, but his great grandson was Ashkenaz. Okay, so hey, whatever is going on in Israel, it's got to stop. And one of the biggest things Trump's got to say okay, and I think he's doing it. He's looking at Gaza and trying to help them. Well, you know what? Netanyahu's going to start another war so he can stay in power, and that's the way their constitution is. As long as they're involved in a war, he gets to stay in power. So he can put an end to all these wars, primarily between him and Iran, but also between them and Gaza, and any other little thing that he thinks up to keep himself in power. Got to get out from underneath that. Okay? And once you get out from underneath that, I think you're going to see Israel really, really change. I think the people are fed up with him. Okay, I can't think of anything else to say. It's almost 15 minutes. Most of the time, I'll lose people when I get too long. That's why I usually like to keep these things short. So, okay, over and out. God bless you. God bless America. God bless Trump and his administration.